On this episode of That Carolina Guy, I'm going to talk about a band, folks. A band that came out of the early to mid 90s. They were a grunge slash midwestern folksy kind of group. Band called Paul. Before we get into today's content, make sure you subscribe. It doesn't cost anything. Hit that bell notification to be notified of future videos like these. Pound that like button. And by all means, folks, leave me some comments. I love the dialogue. All right, folks, I kind of was looking through, had a little sentimental moment the other day as I start looking at albums. I figure you'll do this the older you get. When you're a teenager, first getting into music, well, for me, in my early teenage years, big into AC/DC, really hit strong heavy metal when Van Halen came out. When the first time I heard Van Halen #1, got into some bands like Motley Crue. First time I heard Metallica, man, that just set things off for the kind of music I wanted to hear. And you develop some bands you'll like, and you'll go through a period of a year or 2 years or maybe even a decade, and you're like, man, that's one of my favorite bands, or that is my band at that point in time. Rat was that for me. Alice in Chains at one time. Pantera. I can go on and on and on. But there's a band that I never knew of anybody liking but me. I even had a good buddy I used to go to concerts with all the time. And yeah, I went to the concert one time and seen Paul open for Tesla at the Boathouse, which is in Norfolk, Virginia, down on the harbor. It was a great place. It was like a barn to go into. Great venue, like a club. And I remember Paul opening for Tesla. And don't get me wrong, I like Tesla. Modern Day Cowboy was a good song. But people were throwing coins to get Paul off the stage. I was so pissed, because they were a great band, but I understood why they were doing it. They never heard of the band. They didn't know their songs. And if you've ever been to a concert before and you never heard of a band, you might think, hey, get off the stage, you suck. Until maybe you start listening to the song and go out and buy that album and think, man, that's pretty good. No wonder those people were cheering. But anyway, I got a chance to meet those guys backstage while Tesla was performing, and left my buddy out there listening to Tesla. And he could care less. I went backstage to talk to these guys and get their autographs. But Paul put out 3 albums. They put out their Dragline album in 1993. They had a 1995 follow-up called Death to Traitors. And the 2000 album, Home is a Strange Place. Now, I'll just say this, in case you take my word for it. I've listened to Home is a Strange Place. I never bought it. I think that Paul was for a limited amount of time. The 90s were Paul's decade. And I'm not saying they were like a decade band or whatever, but if there was ever a point in time this band could lay a claim that they made an impact on somebody's life, like me, it would be in those early to mid 90s that this band was incredible. Now, this was a period of time that when they came out, it was right before I got married. Right before I had my first son. And by the time their second album came out, I was already on the downhill of this marriage. Just a couple of years away from it ending, I'd say. But anyway, a little bit about the band. The main thing I want to concentrate with this video is their album called Dragline. It's an album that has a special place in my life and heart and memories. Now, their second album is a must as well. And I love that album, Death to Traitors. Some really good songs. But I felt like the first album to me, and if you're listening to this video and thinking, well, I've heard of them, I'm not impressed, or I've never heard of them, I don't care about them, or I don't know if I'll give it a chance, just hear me out with this band. For me personally, they were a band that this album, Dragline, hit me in a place, wherever I was during that period of time in my life, what I was doing, who I was becoming to be as a young man, how those songs reached and hit me on my way to college, in the morning, on my way to work at night. I'd put the CD in my car and drive. And just an emotional attachment I had I couldn't explain. But anyway, I'd call Paul as a midwestern grunge band, alternative rock. They even had a little folksy country sound to them. But they're from Lawrence, Kansas, so go Jayhawks for them. Come out in 1990. And everybody thought they were going to be the next Nirvana. I say that, record labels. They were signed to A&M Records to a 3-album deal. Now, the reason why the first time I heard them, folks, Dragline comes out 1993. It's late 1993. And I believe it was early 1994. They had their video called Jesse on MTV's Headbangers Ball. So the album comes out in 93. I don't see it anywhere. I don't see it in Hit Parade or Circles magazine. I don't hear anybody talking about it. I don't know anything about this band because they're new. But when that video comes on Headbangers Ball, and I used to sit up and record these 3-hour Headbangers Ball every Saturday night, and I was looking for the really heavy metal videos or really hardcore thrash stuff. And normally I'd walk away 3 hours and edit that 3-hour, getting tired of the Cinderellas and the Poisons and whoever, Winger or whatever it be, and they're okay. But I was looking for like a new video by Pantera or a new up and coming sound by another band like Clutch the first time I heard them. But I heard Jesse by Paul early 1994, right before my first son was born, right around the time I got married. Man, it impressed me. So I go out next week and buy the album. It's a great album. Gasoline's the first song. It's a really, really great song, man. It just starts blaring in. Second song's called Sleeping Bag. And there's 2 brothers in this band. Let me say that the brother on guitar is Grant Fitch, and his brother on drums is Peter Finch. And they had a bass player named Charles Bryant, and he wasn't going to stick in the band. And then the lead singer, and you had to have this guy on vocals, Mark Hennessy, because to me he was the front man. And so the 2 brothers and Hennessy carried this band. But one of the brothers, I'm not sure if it was Grant Finch or Peter Finch, had a song where his brother got hit by a car, and he goes to the hospital. And the other brother, it's the reality of being a kid that he didn't think his brother was going to live through being hit by a car. And he thinks about the times that, they would fight or not get along or whatever. But he goes home while his brother's in the hospital, not knowing if he's going to make it or not. And he gets inside his brother's sleeping bag because that brought him close to smelling and feeling and being with his brother. That's a great song if you listen to it. And first time you hear it, I didn't even know what it was about. But you read the lyrics and then do some reading on the song when it was written, what it was about. The song Jesse, the video, was about a dog. Kid finds a stray dog, follows around, and he wants to keep the dog. And like any other boy growing up at 12 years old or whatever, he's got things to do. He's playing sports. He's going with friends. He's movies, whatever. He gets tired of the dog, wants the dog to go away. So he gets this acclamation for a dog. Dog follows him around, boy's best friend, and then the boy outgrows the dog. Then the song called The Bridge is a very good song. Couldn't Know is a great song because you follow the lyrics and did a video for it if you ever get a chance. And it's about a shark that gets in a fishing line or whatever, gets caught, and it dumps its babies. And these the shark knows it's dying, and it's dumping these baby sharks out. And I'm not talking about baby shark dude. I'm just talking about dropping its litter of sharks or whatever. And as they pull the shark in, it's looking at this dead cold eye that this shark's never going to know its youth or whatever. And I know animals don't think like people, but it's a good song. Then they had a song called Pansy on the album. It's probably the weakest song on the album. But then a song, Lolita, very seductive. And I don't recommend this song to this is what you should do. But it's kind of one of those songs where a guy's in a relationship with a girl and he can't live with her. He can't live without her. If she leaves, he's going to stalk her out and beat her up. If she stays, he's going to beat her up. He loves her so much he leaves bruises on her. Now, I'm not recommending it. It's morbid. But it's just one of those songs that I can't stand you if you're here, and I can't stand you if you leave. I don't want you to leave. And it really hits. It's a kind of a morbid song, but it's great to listen to. Then they had a song called Dragline. And if you ever saw the movie Cool Hand Luke, it goes into detail about what Paul Newman went through in the movie about eating the 50 eggs and just certain things in that movie, Can't Hold Me Down. Just the lyrics kind of go off, and it's kind of a song talking about a boy growing up and he's challenged his father. He's growing up. He wants to drive his truck. He's challenging his dad, and kind of goes with that movie Dragline, how a person grows up and they just are a rebel of society. Then the song Veronica is another sexual innuendo song, and it's really dealing with Archie comics. Ronnie, Veronica, and Betty. Talking about how Veronica, how sexy she was, the brunette in the comics. And that's good. And then there's one song called One More Bottle, where this guy's with his girlfriend and she's out, so he's going through a purse trying to get money to buy some drinks, alcohol, and he finds a love note from another guy. And it kind of tears him up. So now he's going out to drink because he's upset because she's cheating on him or whatever. And then a song called Sugar Cane, and man, that's really good, man. That's such a good, because it's about the sexiness of a Catholic schoolgirl, and this guy's going out and he's just kind of tempted and teased by her. And then the last song, I wasn't a big fan, it was called Hard Pig. But it was a great, great album, folks. And they come out in 1995 with After Traders, which was a good song. They had a slow song on there called Texas. Just a couple other songs that were really good on that album. But on that album, when they recorded the second one, they'd already kicked the bass player Charles Bryant out. And I think the album really was, After Traders was talking about kicking him out of the band and how he slashed their tires and went out and did certain things he could not do. And on the album when they recorded it, folks, Grant Fitz, the guitar player, also did the bass tracks on that. And then they go out on tour. And like I said, by the time they come around in 2000 and did Home is a Strange Place, I listened to the album. It's not good. It doesn't work. So, folks, go out, purchase Paul's album if you can find it. It's called Dragline. It's worth to listen to. Has a special place in my heart. Pound this like button on this video. Make sure you subscribe. It doesn't cost anything. Hit that bell notification, be notified of future content like this. And by all means, folks, leave me some content. I love the dialogue. I want to see you next time on another edition of That Carolina Guy.